We're live. How you doing?
I'm good. Are we live right now?
We are live, yeah.
Excellent.
I just started it. Stream is starting soon. So I've just got the starting screen on. I was just putting this other camera on. I can't remember how I even set it up yesterday. How you doing?
I'm all right. I have done some work.
Wow, nice.
Yeah.
I've just been doing other work today.
Yeah, proper work. Paid for work.
Yeah, well, not really paid for work, but work. Yeah, definitely. I wrote some notes down. I can't wait to see. Hold on a sec. Let me just see. I think this is easy enough. Camera? No. Oh, who cares? We'll leave that now. I'll just put my phone into airplane mode. All right. So it's 3 minutes to 9. We'll just start early. You know, there's a chat.
Yeah, if I had the link.
You can interact with the chat. I think let's have a look now. How do I open this up? Sign into chat. Open in web browser. I'll send you a link, see if this works. I don't know if it will.
Let's try it.
Oops, nope, that's Discord.
I mean, it's a fun chat.
Chat. There you go. Try that.
This is the live stream for 2 people who are above the age of 30 trying to navigate technical things.
Not really used to this sort of thing.
Yeah. Although, ironically, we both have technical backgrounds.
That's
Yay!
True. Right, I'm hitting go. Here we go. Does that work? Are you in the chat?
I apparently have one, but it's fine.
Okay,
it's my other one, but that's fine. Let's go. Go.
Going live. Ta-da! We're live. Right. Well, we were already live, but now we're on a live screen, my desktop. So, wow, do you want to start today?
Yeah. Well, I've written some notes down on the concept folder in Spodio on my drive. So I can talk through them if you can hook up to that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I was looking at the kind of the concepts that we were doing 5 years ago.
Right.
And wow, like flashbacks. I can't believe I wrote so much. And it was also something that's kind of, that looks like it is. Yep, that's the one.
Ooh.
So I was kind of thinking of similar setting in the sense that it would be space. I quite like the idea of space, quite like the idea of it being set in the future. That can open up to lots of possibilities. But I've kind of taken a kind of reduced kind of level of what's going to be going on, because I think there was a lot of history and there was a lot of backstory and there was a lot of intricacies in the original concept idea that I've kind of stripped back a lot of that. So what I've actually done is taken, I don't know if you remember, I did a 365 story thing.
Oh yeah.
About 8 years ago now. And one of the stories I started there, I really liked. There was a lot of it was kind of treasure trove of ideas right there. So what I've done is stripped it back to kind of bare sort of basicsness. And the concept that I want to put forward is it's about set 80 years in the future, and it's the concept of privatization of space travel, which is kind of beginning to get traction with Amazon. Jeff Bezos is trying to get into space.
Is Jeff Bezos? He's still alive. He's been he's had his brain put in a jar.
His brain put in a jar. To be honest, like he might actually be murdered by his employees at this rate. And then you've got Elon Musk, assuming his ego doesn't, suffocate him. And they're both trying to get into space, and they're both trying to, further what, the kind of 1950s, 60s NASA was trying to do with their space program.
Cool.
So the way I've seen it is that whether or not it's Earth as a kind of one entity, or whether it's one nation, such as the US, trying to privatize space travel, and part of that, they have basically given over the kind of lease or the kind of they basically paid a company to say, listen, we want to set up something on Europa, which is, as you hopefully know, one of the potentially more habitable kind of, what do you call it? It's not a planet, but it's one of the more moon. It's a moon, one of the more kind of celestial bodies that we can actually potentially live on. So what this is, that's the kind of birth of this idea, is the fact that Earth has, essentially gone out to tender on the medical research facility on Europa and the colonization of it. And this private company's come in and they've set it up. There is now a medical and scientific research lab on there. And the context of how this relates to the character is that there is the sort of humanity's first off-worlder is born. And this is essentially your character. So you are the first ever person who is born out in the out of Earth, basically, out of the orbit of Earth. And you basically, throughout your entire life, you've been used as a kind of poster child of space exploration. So everyone kind of knows your face. You're very well known.
Cool, great. Okay.
So you've been used as a kind of tool to get extra money back on Earth. And in turn, you've actually grown up and become a scientist yourself.
Okay, nice.
Bit of backstory to the character. Your mother died very soon after childbirth.
Is this in here?
Yes, it is all in here.
Oh, let's keep going. Let's work through it. So you're skipping stuff. So the same father that died in a shuttle accident 10 years previously on his way home to Earth.
Yes, so the setting is that number one, you open up with this, you're woken up by a message. And that message comes in as your father. And this is the same father that has died 10 years previously. He has sent a delayed message to your device. And the tone is urgent. And it said, they're going to say it was an accident, son. It wasn't.
Nice.
And then the first puzzle is to kind of unlock the sort of secondary cryptic message of his final words and his final message to his son.
Cool. All right. Nice. Sounds good.
So a little bit of backstory to the player character here. Basically, he's an orphan. He's the eldest off-worlder. He's never been back home. And he himself became a scientist. So the essence of what the initial story would be is that his father, who was also a scientist, discovered something that was happening that wasn't legal and wasn't morally right. And he was trying to take that information back to Earth to prove that the company was doing deadly kind of experiments and really, really horrible stuff.
Right. Okay. So this isn't a comedy.
No, I'm sorry.
Right. Okay. Cool.
I tried comedy and I thought, this is.
How do I make this funny?
I like this better.
No, that's cool. No, I like this. Yeah. No, this is awesome. Okay, I like it.
So basically the kind of whole initial mystery is you've got to try and find your father's hidden lab research notes, and the end result is you've basically got to, through going to different locations, speaking to different characters, make sure that Earth is aware of what exactly is going on in this medical research facility.
Cool. Is that the last sentence here? Puzzle forms, unlocking doors. It's the classic puzzle.
I know.
You're just going to unlock doors throughout the game. You unlock that final door.
If you scroll down,
okay. Good. Just checking. Right. I like the unlocking doors puzzle. There's always something nice about it. Yeah, absolutely. I did that in Half-Life Alyx the other day. I think I was saying, and when I finally unlocked the door, it's just the joy of opening it up and moving through it in VR. It was just like, whoa. Cool. All right. Getting information from people, hacking computer terminals. Nice. Combining objects together.
Yeah, combine objects, because he's obviously a scientist. He could be in a chemistry lab and he can know that substance A can mix with substance B. And you can have notes that the player could refer to get that knowledge. And then you could unlock abilities to travel. So, for instance, you could use any of the above puzzle formats to try and get a travel, like a permit to travel to another location.
Nice.
So that could be like a
love that.
Research facility in Europa.
Yeah.
And then having all of these sort of different locations. So instead of it having kind of monotonous metallic space feel, because people are living there, it's going to be like a kind of more realistic kind of normal life there. So there's going to be, like, for instance, greenhouses to grow the crops. There's going to be, maybe like a little forestry area because it's all domed. They've not terraformed the place yet. So they could have, like, forests. They could have all sorts of rich environments and different as well. So it's not just you go into a room that looks almost identically the same as the last one you were in.
Cool. Okay. Good. Forests are good.
Especially
for an audio game. Yeah. Tweety birds and stuff.
You can have exactly perfect. But I've also added in potential, and I don't know how it's going to work programming wise, but to kind of detract from the kind of linear feel that might give the player, if there's a possibility where you can have, like, a kind of hub map where you could then go back to any point. So once you visited a location, you can kind of go back to that at any point.
Yeah, I think we could do that. I'd like to make this sort of work on mobile as well, just so you know.
Yeah.
And the Godot, I've been looking at Godot's UI. It's Godot UI. It's got all these UI elements. I'm trying to see if there's any good examples here. Not really. They kind of, most of them look like the sort of buttons that we saw in that prototype. Like this sort of thing. Here's a button, and here's another button. So you have to theme them and style them and so on. So, but yeah, we can pretty much make anything we want. Obviously, the more tricky it is, the longer it'll take. But yeah, so we're starting off with locations. That's good. I was just thinking, this is just on a purely basic level. I was trying to imagine, like, the audio of the game. And I was actually thinking, so I was talking about, like, the first puzzle being moving between locations. And then I was thinking what we should probably have is how you traverse from one location to another. So, for example, if it's room to corridor, we might have a traverse audio sound, which is footsteps. If it's, space station to landing on a planet, it might be like the sound of like a ship going boom, and then you get off. So that sort of thing. Some sort of traversal sounds might make it sound a lot more
realistic,
continuous, rather than just like, now you're here and now you're here.
Exactly. And if we could have, like, for instance, like, so in my mind there might be a remote research facility that's away from the main lab area, so you might need to take, like, a shuttle to it. So you could have, like, a kind of, I want to say a load screen, but it's not really a load screen, it's a kind of transition screen of, like, you could be on this shuttle, and you could have the kind of sounds of, whatever that might sound like, and then the arrival kind of, it could be like a second or two, but it would be enough to kind of give that impression of motion.
I think we should be able to build up quite a lot here ourselves, doing just that, and then eventually we're going to need to get someone that's really good with audio and someone that's quite good with graphics to come in and join us, and then we're going to, like, watch their magic as well, which would be quite interesting. Do you know anyone? I think we know a lot of audio people, but I'm not so sure about the graphic people.
Not sure if, exactly. I can have a think. Graphics wise, I do know someone who one of my friends, one of her very close friends from university, she used to work at Rockstar Games.
Oh, right, yeah.
So she has moved on since, but she might know people who are up and coming into.
Everyone knows someone from Rockstar Games.
I know, especially in Edinburgh, right?
Yeah, true. Cool, awesome. All right, have you got another idea, or is this is the main one at the moment?
I think this is the main one at the moment.
Let's work with this. I like it. I think it's really good. Yeah, I'm totally up for this. Sounds good. Cool. All right. So, where do you think they're going to start off? You start off with the call coming in.
Start off with the call coming in, and you kind of, as the player enters, he wakes up and he becomes said player, whoever he's called.
Okay.
And you're kind of just thrown in, and that could be like a kind of, I don't know if you want to call it like a prelude. So it's like, you have this puzzle, and then it kind of has like a very, like, with Monkey Island, when you play Monkey Island for the first time, there's the secret of Monkey Island, where you come in and there's a lookout guy, and you have a little bit of an interaction with him, and then you go down the stairs, and then boom, the credits run. Not proposing, 5 minutes of credits, but just something to kind of introduce the game, introduce the setting.
I like that.
And then boom, you're in the next room, whatever.
You should start taking notes. You should start expanding this accordingly. Right.
Yes.
Okay. So, what should we do now? Should we start trying to make something that works? I don't know how quickly I can do it.
Can you make it work?
I think that's the point of the stream, is I'm going to try and make it work. So, let's have a go. All right.
Go for it.
So, you need to have a little think about what the first location is going to be. So, if you want to start planning out, like, let's say, 3 locations,
Okay.
and how you get from one location to the next, and what that location is called, that'll be a starting point. And I will try and get us started here. So, I've booted up Godot, and we've got the main scene, which is going to be where our game is located. We've no idea what our game's going to look like yet, so all we're going to do is try and get some concepts working.
Yeah.
So Godot has got a console. There it is, the console down here. So what we're going to do is kind of do it a little bit like a text adventure at the moment. So I'm going to print stuff out so we know what's going on the screen, and then we'll work on graphics later. So let's have a look at my notes that I was writing. What was this one here? So yeah, so we have a concept of the game. Where's the game? So the game has a player, locations, objects, and characters. I've had a long day, so forgive me if I'm slow. Feel free to chime in, by the way, and say that doesn't sound right. But I'm going to have my best go here. I might do it wrong. If I do it wrong, we'll just keep playing around. Anyway, so we're taking an object-oriented approach to creating our game here. So everything we look at is an object. So a location, an object, a player, and so on. And everything goes inside our game. So I was just thinking about it today, and I was thinking, well, potentially the game has a current location, and maybe it needs to pull this information in. But the way Godot works is, so each one of these is a scene. If we pull these in, it just pulls in whatever the state of that thing is. And we might want a location to change. We might not want the options to change. We might want to, So we probably want to have all the locations loaded in for a given, we might have like multiple parts of the game, but we want to have a main area, at least the first act, in memory.
It might actually be easier to do that. So I was kind of thinking, taking inspiration for something like, for instance, Grim Fandango, where you had like part 1, you were in, what was it, Almaro, and you had all the different places you could go, and it was quite limited, but amazing at the time, in 1998. But you had a lot of different locations, and then as soon as you were in year 2, I think you then couldn't go back. So I don't know if you want to try and like maybe just separate that. So if we have areas, rather than creating 2 or 3 layers of the same location that you could go back to at any point in time, like once you've maybe moved an object or taken an object from an area.
I'm going for that. I think you get, I have seen you get games where you can go right back to the beginning again, and it's pointless. And you get loads of games where you don't. So I don't know. I like that sort of progression. It's like you can't go back. You've got to keep moving forward.
Got to keep moving forward.
I think I like that. Anyway, I mean, the chances are, the memory requirements aren't going to be huge for this game. It's not going to be like a AAA, Grand Theft Auto or something. So we probably could have the entire game in one area, but we'll see. Anyway, right. So we got in the last episode, we created a location, and we gave the locations names, and we gave the location some kind of introduction. Did we decide we wanted anything else for a location at the moment, other than it's going to have a list of, it's going to have objects related to it. It's going to have objects in that location. It's going to have exits. So
now, would it be better? So, for instance, like first chamber, I would say it's better. For the first, I say chamber, for the first area, I think it's wise to have one exit only to kind of make sure that the player goes through that. Kind of limits the margin of error or confusion that a player might have. But when it comes to hallways, I think we should limit the number of entries and exits if that's possible. unless this program can handle whatever. But I just think, from our point of view, having less will be simpler.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, we're just going to have 3 locations starting point here, so we'll see. Yep. We'll start something really simple, right? So I need an array, which is like a list of items in Godot. How do I do an array in Godot?
Bringing me back to first year university programming.
How do I declare an array in Godot? I'll just go array Godot example. Let's have a look. And we've actually got to create. We're going to create an array of names, or maybe we're going to create an array of locations. I'll come back to this. I think I'll just put a note here, but I think we can. Basically, we just got to point at other locations that the player's going to move to. So it's going to. They're not scenes. How is this going to work? I think what we need to do is we need to start thinking about this as from the player's perspective. Yeah. So the player will have something like move location, and that will be updating the player's location. So we haven't created a player yet. So let's start by creating a player.
What do you call him, Bob?
Just player. Yeah, boring, but necessary.
Come on, we just call him Bob or something. He can stand out.
Wait, what happened? Did I create it? Oh no, we can give the player a name eventually, but at the moment, it's just going to be a boring old player and save scene as player in the scenes directory. I'm keeping all the scenes together in the scenes folder. Oh, can't overwrite scene. That is still open.
What have you done?
Looks like I've basically erasing the location. Oh, this is so weird. What am I doing? Player, save. Oh, that worked. I don't know what I did there. Okay, so player. Here's the player. Let's create a script for the player. The player script goes in the scripts folder. Open, save. All right, here is the player script. What attributes does the player have? So it's got a current location. So to nothing.
I guess he's got health.
Really? Do you think he'll have health?
I don't know.
You think that'll be like? We could do.
I'm going off what your list was.
Isn't this really interesting? Because we can do so much more than your usual point and click here. We could do all sorts of stuff. So I don't know whether we'll have health or not, because that would mean you could level them up and you could have experience and you could turn it into a full-on RPG, which might be really cool for an audio-based game. I don't know.
Yeah. What could we do?
Well, at the moment, that's not the point. The point is to be able to move around. So we're going to start with current location.
Yep.
And you know what? We'll let them pick a name. Export. I'll let you pick a name. Player name equals. Wait, how do we do the export again? I think that's it. Export var player. Yeah, that's it. Oh, putting semicolons. I'm so used to different programming languages. This programming language used on Godot is called Python.
Oh yeah, I know Python. I don't know it, but I know of it.
Yeah, I don't really know it very well. So I've just got to remember that there's doesn't seem to be many brackets. It expects things just to be indented by a tab. And it's kind of weird, but it's I don't know. There's something graceful about it. I quite like it. Anyway,
it looks nice.
Yeah. Right. So I've got a player name for this player now, so I can. Let's go back to the game and bring the player into the game. Oh, I had to go do it physically. Boom. There we go.
Oh, there it is.
It's called Node.
Oh, there.
So I'm going to rename this to player. Save that. Go back. I don't know why it doesn't update when you do that, but I'll do it again. Player. There we go. There's player. Right, we have a player in the game. I mean, I don't even know if we need to do all this, but I'm just really just feeling my way around here. So, okay, so the player has a current location. So, so there's these functions here which are called when when this thing is loaded for the first time when we run the game. I can run the game right now. Here we go. Select the game. It's going to be game scene. There it is. Our game is running, right? Amazing. So it works. It's not crashing or anything. And there's nothing coming out of the output here. So when our game first loads, this is the first thing that happens when the player gets loaded. So we could say here what the current location is going to be, and this will be like the starting point for the player. I don't know whether we should do it here, but we could.
What do you mean?
I don't know whether we should like configure the game from the player node. But you know what?
How would that work? How would that work? Because, well, would you be able to, for instance, like, you know, would you be able to save your progress?
We're definitely got to do that at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just wondering, if you do the pre-configuration in the player, does that mean every single time you load the game, it will reset?
Yeah, we'd have some sort of load function. It'll save the condition. First of all, we save the condition of all these nodes and all the states, and then when we hit load, it loads those states back up and throws them back in. So that I think that's relatively easy. I'll show you something I did recently-ish. It's actually quite a wee while ago. So long enough ago that I've completely forgotten how it works. And, you know, everyone does a platform game first of all. Well, I kind of started doing a platform game. Quick project list. So I started doing this. And if I run it, you can see I got a little dude here. He runs around. He's got a dog. He's got a grey dog.
He's got two.
And there's me. There's me running around, and I've got a little dog as well. It follows me around. And I created a dialogue system. So if I press...
Oh, Neely, what the hell's going on?
Can you hear
Where
that?
are we? What the fuck
I
just
can't hear
happened?
it, but I can read the
I
text.
don't fucking know. Oh my god, what's happened to your head?
Yeah. It's got audio.
What the hell's happening?
That's cool.
Wait, what is that she's growling at?
Anyway.
It looks like an arcade machine.
Yeah, this is cool.
So the idea was here
that oh my god.
Also, that picture
right, Neil,
of
come
you
on,
is
let's
like
go investigate.
the likeness. It's just mesmerizing.
Really is. So you can go up to these arcade machines and you can put coins in them, and then you can press start. And now I'm playing like a little lander game.
Oh, that's cool. Like,
and so the idea is that I was just trying to learn different types of game here. And the idea is that to escape from this arcade, you've been trapped in an arcade machine. To escape, you've got to solve puzzles on these little old retro arcade games. And with this one, you had to land safely in your little zone. But anyway, but anyway, I'm just messing around here. There wasn't really much of it. Oh, look at that! Trashed it.
We crashed it. Okay.
So anyway, but you can see, so this would be a main. This is like the game. And in this case, I've got players. I've got multiple players because you can switch in this. And I've got multiple arcade machines. The idea behind this was that it might be an interesting sort of community project. So everyone can go away and write a game. So the idea was that where I work, everyone would create one of the arcade games. And I was the only person to create an arcade game. So I was like, screw you guys. I'll go write something else. So back to the project. All right, here we go.
That's quite cool, though. It's quite nice to see, even if it's really basic, it's quite nice to see how you would move and maneuver and
but that's very platformy. I mean, even though it didn't have running and jumping. We won't have any of that, obviously.
Yeah. But it's quite nice to know that what you can do and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can do pretty much anything. We can do anything we like here. So, right, okay. So we've got a player. We've got a viewer. Maybe that's you.
No, it's not me.
Hello, viewer.
Hi, viewer.
So what's our first location going to be? Let's just set something here. We can mess around with that later. Give it a name.
Place one.
Place one. Where's he
You
going to
want
get?
the player.
Where's the guy when he gets the message from his father?
I don't know. He's just woken up in my
Put him
mind.
he's in a
on the
bedroom.
bed. Bedroom. There we go.
Right. Okay. Current location. Bedroom. Okay. And so in the game, then we've got to have a location that is the bedroom. At the moment, we've got an airlock, so I'm going to change that to bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use capital letters. Introduction. You are in the bedroom. Let's just say here. Okay. And this other location is. I'll just put the hallway. Although I'm not a big fan of hallways as locations.
Not me neither.
So now I can rename this to bedroom.
It could be
this to hallway.
You could do it an elevator.
Okay, elevator.
Because then you could pick a floor, and that would just be like pick a floor to the medical lab. Or
nice. Yep.
Like
yeah. Totally. Absolutely. Yep. So maybe this could be like, if we're in space, are we? It would be.
No, we're on Europa.
Quarters.
Yeah, quarters is fine.
Quarters on Europa. Okay. Mm-hmm. You are in your quarters, right? Okay. Rename that to quarters. Hope this works. Right. Okay. So, so now we need to give the player some ability to change location, and output something about where the hell we are. So I'm so out of my depth here, but I'm sure we'll work it out. Right. Right. So I guess the game has got to be what controls. We haven't got a game script yet, have we? Scripts. No. We've got a location and
we've got a folder.
Yep, we've got a folder. So I'm going to create a script for a game. I'm going to put it in the scripts folder. Open, create. I'm not sure this is the right way to. I'm just not used to developing something like this with nodes and scripts. I know I did it before, but this is. I mean, maybe I'm just overcomplicating it in my head. So I want some kind of game loop. I'm asking for input. I'm asking them to.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'll do at the moment is maybe I'll just set up some keys. Yeah.
As in like press Y for interaction kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's a function here called process called every frame. Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna look for some. So first of all, we want to say display exit, right?
Yeah.
Exists. So where can we go from here?
Yep.
And we'll see. At some point, we're going to have a really boring video, but maybe it'll be exciting to some people where we've got to go and create all these user interface elements. I know that's probably going to take ages. So I'm just trying to come up with something quick that will allow us to sort of prove that this is working okay. So, okay, so we want to read the keyboard. So how do we read the keyboard? Or the controller? I've got an Xbox controller here, and I've got an Xbox controller dongle thing. So we could read input Godot. Input event. Oh, look at that. There we go. So easy. If input is action, press UI right. Okay. Get rid of that. So if we move right, we're going to move towards. We'll just move. So we're going to create a function for. We're going to call it change location. Is this the game node? It is, yeah. So change location. Now we've just got to decide. See, this is so much easier with buttons. So depending on what location we're in. So quarters we need to know what exits exist in the quarters.
Okay, so let's say elevator. Let's just do one exit for the start, and just to prove that it works.
Okay. I'm just going to create a variable exits equals. I didn't even work out how to do an array. It's probably just the word array or something, but
I think it is.
array example.
There was like var matrix. I don't know what that was about.
How do I create a 2D array? Godot script is not Python and doesn't follow the Pythonic way. Simply do it in the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
And just okay. So just square brackets. What's this thing? Is the range width? The hell's width?
So if it's a matrix, does that not describe how many? Like if it's going to be like 5 by 3 or 3 by 5? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want a matrix. I just want just a simple array like this. That'll do for me. There we go. Okay, super. Okay, so we're going to have an array of exits, right?
Yep.
So we've only got one exit, which is the elevator.
The elevator. Make it simple.
All right. Okay, super. So the game is now going to read the exits that exist for this. So we say display exits. We've got to read the current locations. Okay, so we get the current location from the player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to try just a little test here. I'll comment this out. I'm going to comment all this out because we're not using it yet. I want to display the exit. So I'm going to print. And I'm hoping that because we're in the game, we can just say, I think it's $player. And then you can ask it for an attribute for the player. So it's current underscore location. There it is. Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
So now when we run this game, we should get some output that tells us that we're in the quarters. We're in the bedroom. What happened? I thought we called it the quarters.
No, we called it bedroom, but then, yeah.
Oh, yeah, current location. Yeah, it's like, whoa, I don't know where I am. I'm in the wrong place. Okay. Quarters.
Headquarters.
It's also printing it out. Probably, I think 60 frames a second, I expect, or something along those lines. So anyway, so that's working. Great. We're in the quarters.
Yay!
Okay, so now if we press something, we want to do this sort of change location. So maybe actually it's something that should be something to do with the player. So we need to create a function for the player that's changed location. So we're going to go into the player object. Oh, it's starting to come together, I think. We're going to create a function.
For one of us.
We're going to create what we call change location. I'm going to pass in the new location. I don't know if that's going to work. Indented block expected. Yeah. Pass. Is that working? 17.1. Yep, that works. Okay, so we're going to change location to location. Now, can we test to see? So, is this a valid location? We should probably do some debugging in here. Yeah. Make sure that whatever they've passed us exists. How do we do that? Yeah. We've got to loop through all the all these. So I know there's a function in Godot for doing that. It's called getTree. So we want to Godot get all objects in current tree. I think that's what we're right. Scene tree, get all script instances. Simplify getting the root node and finding all nodes. Yeah, that's something that should do. Although I could do this later. I'll do that later. I'll just for now I'll say it's a valid location to do.
Yeah, it's literally the only other location you can do. So
yeah, exactly. So current location equals whatever they pass in.
Okay.
Hey, that was pretty easy. Okay, so go back to the game. So if they push right, this is hard coded. We're going to move them into the elevator. Okay. Is that working? player isn't declared. Oh, it's $player, right? Oh no, wait. I'm in game. Yes, I need $player. All right, it goes.
Let's go.
We're in the quarters. I push right, and it crashes. Attempt to call function change location in base null instance on a null instance. Interesting.
Have you created the elevator location? Yes, you have.
Yeah, I think so. It's called elevator.
Exact same spelling and everything?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it doesn't really care at the moment.
Oh, right, I see.
So maybe am I running the right game? I am. Okay, what does that mean then? So let's just try and figure this out.
So attempt to call function to
Node not found player. That was earlier, right? Clear that. Or clear the errors out. Clear.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try again to see if those errors come back up. Yeah, so it's definitely saying that it can't find the player node here. So game player.
Should we be doing it in the? Oh, is player spelled with? Yeah, no. It's just it's a very small font here.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Egypt. Yeah, well done, Steph. Get in. Look at that. Right, cool. So we moved using an arrow key. Now, what we want to do is make that so it's programmatic rather than like hard-coded to elevator, right? So we want to base where they move on the exits. So we're going to display exits. So display exits would be exits. I wonder if how that'll display as an array. No, it just won't let you print out an array. So so we need to loop through the array and display the display all the exits. So Godot loop through array. I'm sure this will become second nature rather quickly.
Well, I think we've done well to leave the first room.
Well, yeah, totally. Technically, though, we didn't. We just kind of like printed some text out. So
I'm in the next room. I'm in the elevator.
Right. There we go. So for item in whatever the array is, the array's player exits, and this will be an exit.
This is a stupid question. How would you link the next location to the current location, or next available location? How would you link it?
Well, each location's got its own exits, so you're not linking it per se. You're just
so
defining the
just
location.
declaring it.
So, yeah, because you could maybe have like top of cliff and bottom of cliff.
Yep.
Bottom of cliff doesn't link to the top of the cliff, but the top of the cliff does link to the bottom.
The bottom of the cliff, right? So, okay, I get it now.
Yeah. So that it could go either way. So yeah, each location's got to have its own connections. So for exit in player exits, print exit. So that should print all the exits for the given room. Nope. Doesn't like exits on the player. Oh, of course, because that's the location.
Print exits. Is print exits? Is print exit rather than print exits?
Yeah, no, it's actually.
Is that fine?
I'm speaking rubbish because it's location that has the exits.
Ah, yes.
So
exit player is quite different. That's basically we've ruined the game for everyone and they need to go.
Yeah. So I don't know how we do this, but I'm going to try it. So export var exits elevator. Let's see if this works. Because we've got to define. We want to define the cool, right? Exits equals. I'm just going to go like this. I think that worked. All right, let's see what happens. Because we're basically allowing us to program this using the interface here. So we've got a quarters. There we go. So we can say there's only one exit from the quarters. So 1. And what is the value? It's a string. And it is elevator. Cool. Yeah, so we can actually define everything in the UI. So we don't need to write a tool because Godot does it, unlike the last thing that started working on. So, right. So now we need a better link to the current location because this current location thing doesn't work. It's just some text. So we need to be able to define objects. In fact, location objects as the current location, and then actually we should export this as well, and then allow it to change. So current location equals, I think it's called a scene, or some sort of scene object. Godot. Oh wait, it's not. Yeah, it's a scene object. Scenes and nodes. It's going to be like really obvious or something. Resources. Okay, let's see. Godot var scene object. Oh, scene. Support instances of a scene as a variable. On ready var node, you want to get path to node. What I want. Node path. I'm just going to try and type in the problem. So we want Godot, we want to export a scene. Packed scene. Godot link to scene with variable. How to link a var to a node in a different scene. That's what we want. If you want the text of a child label called label. Oh, look. So we can just use the text.
Okay.
We can just use get node and then the name of the text, name of the label. So we can just use text. I don't know if that's a great way. It might be better to have like some sort of drop down, but at least for now, we can just have quarters, and then in the game, display the exits. So that's no, it's not player, it's location. So we want to okay, the current location belongs to the player. So we are changing the player's current location here. I've forgotten totally what I'm supposed to be doing here. What am I trying to do? Displaying the exits. That's done, right?
The exit, yeah.
No, that's not working yet, is
no.
it?
No.
So okay, no, I get it. Right. So I'm basically trying to show all the exits for the given location.
Yep.
So location. So okay, right. So create a link to current location. That's the first thing we do. So we can go var location. Location node equals get node, and then it's the player dot current location. I think.
Okay.
It's not come up. It's not like popped up and said that's what you want. I don't need get text. I think I just need that. Is you happy with that? Maybe. So get node player current location. Player current location. Yeah, let's just. I want to comment out a load of stuff at once. Godot comment out blocks. Block.
Multi-line comment.
Shortcut. Control K. Nice. Yeah. Right. So I'm going to print location node. Actually, I don't know if that'll work. It'll be .name or something. Will that work? Quarters.
Yay.
Wow. Okay, so now it's actually printing out the name of the node here.
Okay.
Yeah, so we could test this by looking at quarters and printing out the description, the introduction. So if we print out dot introduction, it crashes. Is it? Have I done something wrong there? Yeah, there you go.
Ah, cool.
Wow, it works. Okay, so now we've got a link to the location.
Yep.
So now we should be able to print, so I can uncomment this out. Cool. And I can print out, so that doesn't work, obviously. So for every exit in location, current location, which is location node dot exits, print the exit. So now we should just see what should come out now.
Elevator.
Yeah, loads of times.
No.
Exits. I think you might have spotted this earlier, right? Exits.
Exit or exits?
Yeah, it's definitely exits. Interesting. I've got a node TD up here, and the rest are nodes. I don't know if that's. Oh, it's because it's the game. Yeah, so we're going to have like graphics on here eventually.
Yeah.
Because what we're going to do is we're going to basically get all the information here about the current location, and we only want to do it once. So when we're in that location, display it. At the moment, we're displaying it over and over again, but we will make this only do it once.
Is it something to do with print exits and print exit?
I think it's just that. I think you just don't need the dollar.
Right, okay.
Because it's a variable, right? Yeah, there we go.
Woo!
So, so if we set the elevator to have multiple exits, so let's say, how many floors would you like?
3.
Let's go for 8.
8.
3 floors. Okay. String. All right. So the current floor, what floor are we on at the moment? 0, 1, or 2, or 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, just do that then.
So quarters, okay, and then top floor.
Medical bay,
which we don't have a location for yet, and
research lab.
Okay.
Completely random off the top of my head.
A labs. I gotta call it a labs.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking it's big.
Yep.
You know what? R&D.
R&D.
And medical. How's that?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay,
so
cool.
now we should get the elevator, and then we push right. We go into the elevator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Can you see that okay, by the way?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because it looks like it's actually hidden by my picture on the live stream. So it's good. Like, no one's actually watching to tell me, but oh, someone's still watching.
That might be me.
Oh, right. Okay.
I don't know. Let me check.
I'm gonna move me over here.
How many people are watching now?
So, if anyone's watching and is interested, it's down here. The output is what we're looking at here. So we're just getting stuff out there at the moment. We're not actually putting it on the screen. And in order to run Godot, you just hit this play button up here, and it compiles and bish bash bosh. So basically, all that's happening then at the moment is when we press play, we start off in the quarters, and at the moment we're printing out all the exits. So the exit is the elevator, and then when we push the right arrow, we move into the elevator, and now we've got medical quarters or R&D as our options. Right. So we're going to need some UI elements. We're going to do another 10 minutes. So what should we try and achieve next? So we could add some more locations, so you can actually go to. Let's just add those in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? So we're going to add these lift locations. So location. Not that one. We're going to add more scenes. So we're going to add 1, 2.
Medical. Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Just two, because we already at one.
Cool. So this is the this is medical. This is the R&D. don't know if I should put an ampersand in there. There we go. Okay. And then so medical location name, medical. So I don't even know why I bothered getting a location name now. Introduction. You are in the med bay.
The med bay, yeah.
R&D is R&D, and you are in the R&D.
Lab.
Oh, the what? Sorry, the labs.
The labs.
The research labs.
Just
Cool.
because it can be changed. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, totally. Okay. Now we've got to define. So the exits for the medical bay are. Well, we'll just set the one we know that we've probably got, which is the elevator.
Which is elevator.
Nice. I think it's amazing how it's all working out. It's so easy. I thought I was just going to go and say, that's all, folks. See you later. Let me have a little think about this and we'll try and work it out. It's coming together.
Let's say we have 3 for R&D.
Oh, my God.
You ready for it? Okay. One of them's going to be elevator.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
And then what would you have in a lab? What would you have in a lab?
Toilet. I'm struggling here. It depends on the puzzle. You're going to come back to this anyway. I mean, feel free to delete all your locations, right? You can change all your locations. You don't need to keep any of these. But
well, let's just say you could have testing. That's always a good
testing lab.
Testing lab. And then you could have. What could you have? You could have I don't know, some sort of computer bay or something, so you could do some hacking in there or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we can.
I don't know.
But that might be, yeah, that'd be the object, I think.
Okay. What could you have?
So actually, R&D is so we're in the research lab at the moment. We come out the lift and we're in the research lab. So you can move to the testing lab.
You can move to the testing lab.
And how about the development lab?
Yeah,
literally. You've got a research lab, a development lab, just like R&D. Maybe we should call it RD&T.
RD&T. RDT.
RDT.
Yeah.
So so that means we've now got to create another location. There we go. Oh, look, we can make it part of R&D. That's cool. I don't know if that'll work or not, but I'm going to try it. So we should
be able to, because then it would be like a subset of.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't know.
You don't want to get to it from testing.
I'm just hoping it's just purely visual. Yeah. We're making it a child of R&D, which makes sense for us, but I don't know if it does to the computer. So, is it just this? Oh, so we've got testing, and okay, so this is going to be the testing lab. We name that.
Yeah.
Testing lab. I shouldn't really call that R&D in that research lab. I should call that the research lab as well, right? No, actually, that makes sense, because in the what it
doesn't matter. I think can do what we want.
Yeah, I know we can, but what I'm realizing there is that you might want the options in the lift, the exit options in the lift, to be different from the actual name of the floor. So you're going to the R&D floor, but you end up in the research lab, which means the exits need to have a name that the user chooses and a target for the node. Blimey neck. So we might come back to that if we find a real need for it. So at the moment, we'll call that R&D and R&D. Testing lab is testing lab. You are in the test lab. And I'm just seeing all this stuff coming up here. Set introduction. Oh, right. Okay, I see. So every time I press a letter, it sets it. Okay, and then the testing lab, we're going to have one exit, and that's going to take us back to the research lab.
R&D. Yep.
Okay, and we're not going to be able to navigate through these because we've only got one button, so we'll have to set up 2 buttons.
Might want to, yeah.
We'll have to set up the 1, 2, and 3 key. Maybe that would be a better way of doing it, I think.
So are you doing this on the Xbox thingy, or are you doing it on the keyboard now?
We'll have a UI.
Yeah.
I don't know how we'll make it look yet. It'd be nice to do something other than just crappy buttons, but like nice buttons. Anyway, so R&D, testing lab, development lab's the other one we want. So development lab. That part of R&D. And development lab is the development lab. I think when we change location and define Exes, we should probably use these names here. And then develop location name and introduction should be stuff that we display to the player.
Yes, definitely.
So
what we call the location can be the same as what we introduce it as, but we can call it something slightly different.
Yeah, exactly. So the development lab's connected to what?
Sorry, I just went through the what is it, the skeleton song. The headphones connected to the leg phone. The dev lab's connected to the testing lab.
I know, totally. Put it on. Put the song on. Find it on YouTube. You know, the last stream got demonetized. Not that any of these streams are monetized. For I think I had like what do you call it? Spotify running in the background. I had some sort of lo-fi going. So, but it didn't get removed. It just means you can't earn money from it.
All right. Okay.
Not trying to earn any money at the moment. Okay, so R&D links to the testing lab and the development lab. The testing lab only links back to R&D, so it's like a room at the end.
Yep.
And the development lab links back to R&D as well.
Yes. Yeah. Why not? Let's just have it as a one set location.
All right. So links back to R&D. Right. There we go. Whew. All right. So now we should just be able to go into the elevator, then into what's probably going to be medical. Is it? No, we can't go anywhere now.
No, because you haven't set which one's which for the UI.
Totally. So let's create something real quick. How long have we got? 2 minutes. Here we go.
Yeah.
So going in.
You could just do it as 1, 2, 3, the same numbers that you've got.
Yeah, is action pressed. So the way Godot works is you can set the inputs for a game.
Okay.
So we'd actually have to create like 1, 2, and 3 actions. And then we can map them to like A, B, C on the joypad and things like that.
Right.
So I'm actually just going to use left for 1, up for 2, and down for right. So I'll just copy this.
Yep.
Okay. And so, Bonnie's, my doggy's like moaning. Let me see my doggy.
Aww.
Do you want to come and say hello? Come on then. Here he is.
I can't see your video though.
Oh, you can't see the video. Oh, damn. Fair enough. Wait, Hilda, can I do? No, I can't show you. Can't show you, I'm afraid. So we only want to show. So that's left. That is up. We only want to show or allow these buttons to be pressed if the option is available. So as we loop through the exits, you know what? I want the traditional for loop. So for I equals 0, I plus plus, blah, blah, blah. And then for the first, I can just do it like this. So I'll initialize count. Go, boss, go down there. Can't type. He just wants to lick my hand when I start typing.
Oh.
This is so basic. I don't know if this is probably not the best way to do it, but I'll look into this. So, so on the first loop, if count equals 0, then we're going to read the left input. Yep. And that is going to take us to It's going to change the location to the first exit, which will just be exit, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there.
Cool. I think that should do it.
Okay.
And then count equals 1. Go into the next one. If equals 2, and then. So what's going to happen here is it's going to count up as it's going through the different exits. So we can only have 3 exits the way we've done it here. What we need is to output buttons for every exit. And then when they click that button, we take them to that exit, which was what we'll do eventually. But this should just allow us to navigate through everything right now. Left, up, right, change location, count. So all we need to do now is update count. Nope, doesn't like plus plus. Error passing misplaced.
Does not like plus plus.
No, it doesn't.
What about single plus?
I'll just say count equals count plus 1. Yeah, okay. Wonder what the plus plus is. I gotta find out. Sorry. Godot. I thought GDScript was Python as well, and apparently it's not, but maybe it's a little bit
must be like
increment variable. And the answer is plus equals 1. Fair enough.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Right. Well, so that should work. But one thing it's not going to do, it's not going to tell us where the hell we are. If I press play here, it's going to print out nothing. So I'm just going to, all I'm going to do is do it once when they change location. So you are now in, and how do we print out the exit? Oh no, wait, you know what? I'll just print out the description. I'll just print out the description, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's
like
it's location node dot description. The magic.
Or is it not? Is it description or introduction?
Probably introduction. Thanks. Yep. All right. Here we go. Well, it's not going to tell us where we are, but wow, it's going to go really fast because it's like I have to tap it really quick.
Okay, so you're on the corners, you're in the med bay, you're in the med bay, you're in the med bay.
I need to get back in. Shit. Anyway, we're out of time. I swore live on stream. Sorry, gonna have to mute that bit out because it's supposed to be kid-friendly, child-friendly, youth-friendly. But it's now 10 o'clock. We've done a stint. I said we'd do like an hour tops, and I don't want us to like get too like bored. But that was brilliant. Thank you very much. We've made a start. We've made a kind of start. I think right now you've got enough to start going, okay, you know what? I want to have it. Here's my locations. Here's what I want as a starting point. And start thinking back from the problem we want to solve. Because
yes, definitely. So if I come up with, say, 3 locations to start, and then we can
as many as you like, to be honest. We can start doing the way we're doing it here is you can like kind of draft stuff out.
So do you want to work out locations and then puzzles, or do you want to start puzzles and locations? Which is easier for you?
I think the easiest thing is to do the whole thing as one, but like to actually work out how it's going to work straight away, and then that's like proper planning to come up with something that works. But we're also trying to just kind of evolve the design here as well. So we're not trying to get too stuck in the planning. We're kind of trying to learn the software and so on. So
if I come up with 3 locations,
yeah,
and there's 2 puzzles to get from one location to the other.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but so that means we've got to start doing objects soon.
Yes. If I come up with, say,
I've got quite a lot more to do with locations.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to carry on doing locations probably for the next half an hour. Okay. And maybe I'll try and do a user interface or something like that. Yeah, I think I will. I'll try and make some buttons. Might be really boring. So feel free to continue watching. By all means, you can like.
It doesn't matter. There are 10,000 viewers.
Another 10,000 viewers. Yeah. But yeah, this bit's going to be pretty dull. Really selling the live stream. But thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I will keep on coming up with locations and objects and puzzles.
Cool. All right, and I'm going to try and get. I'm going to try and spend half an hour and get some buttons working, or at least get this working in some sort of degree.
Cool.
Nice one.
Sounds good.
All right, Steph.
Well, cheers.
Thank you very much. I'll catch you next time. Are you in tomorrow? It's Friday night.
We're all in. It's Friday night. It's lockdown o'clock. So yeah, let's
Cool.
I'm gonna be in. Everyone else is.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
All right,
bye.
Cheers, Steph. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, right, that was Zoom. So we're going to carry on here and try and get some buttons working. So I think let's just try and get this working first. I think we need some way of like making sure that the button isn't held down. It's I think there's probably like a on button release or something, right? It certainly is in Unity. So Godot input release. I really need to start looking at the documentation a bit better. There we go. Is action released? Brilliant. Let's try that. And then we also need to know which one is which. So we can say here print left for, and then is it plus the current location, which is location.node location name. Yeah. Cool. And then up for that, and right for that. Let's try that. Nope. Is action released? Invalid call, non-existent function. Let's see what sort of docs we have here. Search. Oh, nope. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Online docs. That's where we just were. Would have thought there'd be some kind of searchable. Well, maybe this will work. Let's have a look. Input. Oh, there we go. Cool. All right. Input. Into input. Input. Singleton that deals with inputs. Singleton. Mouse buttons, movements. Action underscore release. Is action just released? I wonder what the difference is. Oh, that actually releases it. Must be the other one then. Cool. Turns true when the user stops pressing that button. Awesome. Here we go. This is going to work. F5 shortcut for running. We're off. So the only way we can go is quarters. So we press left. Right. So we can now go up for the elevator, left for the elevator, and right for the elevator. That's not right. Why would that be happening? Oh, of course. It's not the location name. It's the exit I want, isn't it? There we go. Left for the elevator. There we go. Obviously, we don't want it constantly printing out like that. So I can go to the medical bay, but I'm going to go right to R&D. Boom. So I can go So I'm in R&D, so I can go to the testing lab or back into the elevator. So I can go to the development lab as well. So I'm going to go to the development lab. Boom, crashed. So yeah, I think we do need to make sure that these are a part of the main tree here. I think that's the issue there, because it's trying to grab something relative to the game. So left to the elevator, right into R&D, and then up into the development lab. Yes, I'm in the development lab. I want to go left back into R&D. Now I want to go into the testing lab, which is also left. Cool, and then left back into R&D. Right. Super. Okay. Now, can I need to learn how to print stuff on the screen here. So let's do our first little jump into the UI. I have no idea where to start with this. I did a little bit of UI on my other game. Let's have a look at what I did there. Go to the project list. And so I created a game called Mantis Lander. And Mantis has a lunar lander. Yep, there we go. Right, GUI display. Here we go. I did something here. It's pretty good. That'll do this. GUI display. What is that? GUI. GUI is a what? Canvas layer. I don't know if I could have two Godot instances. Oh, I can by those things. Okay, I'm going to create a new Godot instance. Load up this. It's yet unnamed. And so should I do that on the same screen? I think I will. So I'm going to add a canvas layer. Go. And then this is just a label. So add a label to it. Super. Oh, that was easy. All right, great. Let's try that out. So we'll call this the user interface, and we'll put current location in here. So text. Okay. Yeah, sure. Current location. Oh, there we go. What we probably want is two labels here. One being the label of where we are, and one being the result. So copy that. Move that across. Don't have it lined up, but what we can do is we can look at the positioning. Where's the positioning of these things? Oh, they've got sort of alignment and vertical alignment and so on. Oh, that would be the content. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's sit here. So up and down is top and bottom. Oh, that's weird. I don't quite understand how that's. So it's margin relative to. Okay, right. I think I get what's going on there. I think I just want to change the position then. So I actually want the margins to be the same on these guys, which they should be. Oh, no. Oh, geez. Right, but I definitely want the location to be the same. So right. So if this is 10 pixels down, And that one's 10 pixels down. So now they're lined up beautifully. Does that look lined up to you? Looks lined up to me. Okay, so this is going to be current location. Just call it location. And then we'll call this a location value. Right. Clear that out. Oops. That's weird. I just hit return this. Oh, wow, it snaps. Okay. Right, so I need to get a hook. Oops. Location value. Need to link to this location value here and then update it based on the current location. So where should I do that? So we are in the game loop here. Should the player be responsible for updating the user interface? No. Probably want the game to do it. Okay, we'll make a function called update GUI. And we'll try and get a link to this location value. So we did it this way here. If that'll work. Okay. I don't know if we want to be doing that over and over again. It's not very efficient. But for the sake of trying this out, so we're going to want to be updating something based on the location here. Oh, we could pass in the current location. So now I've got a link to it. Super. So now we've got to try and get a link to location value. So let's just try get node location value. Oops. Location value. Oh, look at that. Nice. So how do we set the text in there? Property text. Okay. Dot text. Text, yeah. Equals test. Nope. Node assigned type node doesn't match the function's argue type. Node path. I'm not sure what's going on there. I mean, it does. Assigned type node. Can I just say var label equals? Nope, still doesn't like that. Maybe I just get rid of that. Okay, assigned type node doesn't match the function's argument. Wow, it'd be great if I could just copy that straight into Google. Yep, copy that. See what Google says. Bit worrying that I'm not seeing anything. Let's try that. Nope. I mean, what I'm getting from this is that the function get node is used to get it. Oh, okay. I'm with it. Okay. You know what? I don't even need to get node. I'm trying to get node and then getting a node, I think. Whereas I was already doing it. Location. There we go. So I could just update text to be test. Right. So if I do that in here, so I'm going to do it on the ready function. Oops. I haven't got a link to location node there. Let's put that in. Okay, let's try that. Location test. Super. Okay, that worked. So all I did there is I'm updating the GUI when the game loads, and I'm saying get the current location. Pass that into my update GUI here. And then I'm setting it to test. So I'm actually going to now set it to the correct location, which is why am I using get node there? Create link to current location. Oh, of course, right. Yeah, what I did there is okay. Yeah, so I'm get node is a path, so it's actually just a string basically. All I'm outputting there is a string, and it's looking for the node that the string that is the current location. And if it finds it here, it pulls it into location node. So if I'm updating the GUI, I do indeed want to just be passing in the current location. So I just need to do that. In fact, I don't think I need to pass anything in, to be honest. I think that's just a waste of time. I just need to say it equals the player's current location. How's that? Are we good? Any errors? Play. Well, looky. I'm in the quarters. I go, well, I can go left for the elevator. Yeah, but it doesn't update. Because I'm not doing it. So update GUI. Update the GUI. Update the GUI. Update the GUI. Print location introduction.
Single version by Mr. from Spotify.
Computer, stop. So Alexa's kicking in. Right. So now play that. Computer, stop. Quarters, elevator, left for R&D. I'm in the medical bay. Left for the elevator again. Sorry, right for R&D. R&D, up for development lab. Oh boy, that's more like it. We are moving around. Cool. All right. So now we've got a GUI. Yeah, we can start creating location buttons. I think that'll do for now. So I'm going to put a little note here. That in our next episode, we're going to create buttons for our user interface. So I might just start. Never added a button before. Let's have a look. Button. Option button. Special button. A button controller provides selectable options when pressed. Tool button. Flat button helper class. Link button. Simple button used to represent a link. Texture button. Pressed, hovered, disabled, and focus states. I mean, at the end of the day, who wants to play a game with a drop down? Not me. Probably want some kind of flat button. I don't know if that's the word though. I don't know what sort of button we need. Standard themed button. Maybe it's just that. Create button. Boom. Okay. So I think what we need to do is instantiate buttons on the screen based on the current location. And then when we move to the next location, we need to clean those buttons out and then add as many buttons as there are locations. So already at the point where we start thinking about how stuff is going to look. But let's just try this button. Test button. Wow, if I run that, look at that. I've got a button. Fantastic. How do I know if the button's clicked? Pressed, on, off. Button release action. Okay, let's have a look. Godot button event. Get button node in click event. How we can get the button reference on the event function that is connected. I wish I would have here the button object, or at least the name on the button. Oh, if that works, I'll be very happy. A function to create a button and a function to print something out when the button's pressed. That'd be a nice little start. I'm going to have to sign up to this. Okay, let's try it out. So back into our game script. So when the game first loads, yeah, can't put those in there. What's wrong with var b? Var b? The hell's var b for? Button toggled b, all right, okay. Else expected colon. Oh man, that code's obviously been well tested. Someone said it worked. Oh well, let's try it. So what the earth is going to happen there? Yeah, okay. See what happens. I don't see any button one. But then I'm not calling any of these functions, so create button. Okay. The method create button isn't declared. Func create button. Oh, let's go. Okay, play. I don't know, with all these printouts going on, I can't tell what the hell's going on. Let's turn that off. I think I'm just going way off track here. Okay. Update current location. Put some notes in. Okay. I think what I want to do is break this down. I want to look at instantiating button Godot or any object. Unity comes up first. Really? Instantiating and a node Godot. Okay, so this person's obviously doing it. Add child. Coin equals coin scene instance. All right. Okay. Right. So here they're instantiating based on a variable called coin scene, which is an existing scene. So they're preloading this scene, calling it coin scene, and then they create a new instance of it called coin. They set a position for it, and then they add it to the scene by the looks of things. Because this coin container is something something that already exists. So this is pretty good. Except it's not loading a button. Although, so really all I'm talking about here is creating a scene which is just a button. Is that really what I want to do? I mean, you've got all these create node in Godot using GDScript. Adding nodes from a script in the editor. No, that's not what I'm looking for. I want to, no one knows how Godot works. Well, oh, it's a while ago. I just type in Godot generate button. Is it really as easy as that? Button equals button new. How can that possibly work? I mean, where's the button going to exist? Let's just try it first of all, see what the hell happens. So we'll do it in the ready. Create a new button. First of all, that's not going to do anything, right? No. We'll just hide our test button. Cool. So I don't see any buttons there. But now we're going to add that button to the user interface. So, damn, where was that? That other script I was looking at is quite good. Although that might be. Oh, here it is. Right. So we want to. It's add child. So we want to get a link to user interface. $user interface. Bingo. And then just add child button. And that should add that button, if it exists, to the screen. Flipping heck, it worked. What do you know? All right. That was easier than I thought. So now we should be able to say, so with this button, we could say button.text. Yep. Equals, woohoo. Play. Boom. Oh, nice. Okay. I'm getting somewhere. So we've basically got to create a new function as part of our update GUI. So func display exits. So first of all, we remove all the old exits. Can't write exits for some reason. Add new exits. So the new exits are going to be similar to this code here, where we loop through. So basically for every exit, we want to create a new button. The button text will be the, what's wrong with that? Location node isn't declared already. Okay. Display exits. Location node again, location node. Must be an easier way to get a reference to that. I feel like we're going way too far with this current location thing. Having to constantly point to a bit of text. I don't know whether it's worth, it's just easier, I think, to be able to type in the name of a location. You know, it's just a prototype. I don't want to think too hard about that. So okay, so we'll just borrow that. Thank you very much. Display exits. So based on our current location, loop through the exits. Create a new button. So the button text to be the name of the exit. So it will be exit. Add the button. We've got to change the position of the button. So we need to position button appropriately. Now we have no idea what that's going to be yet. So all I'm going to do is change the, let's have a look. We're going to change the, is it position? Would that be it? I think so. Rect underscore position. The node's position relative to its parent. Cool, so it's relative to the top left corner of whatever the canvas is at the moment. So I'm not trying to do anything too specific right now. So I'm just going to move it down. So I'm going to update the Y value. So back into the script. So assuming the first one's 0, okay, so I'm going to set add new exits. Row Y equals 0. Yeah, I don't want to display on the first line because I've got my current location there. So I'm going to add row Y plus equals 30. And then update the button. What's it called? Rect position. Rect position. That's an XY. So I think that means it's a vector 2D. So it's going to be the X of 0 and a Y of row Y. Happy with that? No, vector 2D isn't declared in the current class. Because it's a node. I can just set dot Y, right? Yeah, I really should. Oh, it is a node 2D. Maybe it's just not called a vector 2D. Vector 2. Oh, it's just a vector 2. Okay, anyway, I should do it. So I instantiate a new button. I update the button text. I move it down 30 pixels. I update that position and then add it in. And then I do it again for all the exits. Play. Nada. Nada. Nothing at all. I've forgotten something really obvious, I bet. display axis yet. I never called it anyway. So, and if I do this constantly, like update GUI is going on a lot. No, update GUI only happens when you're doing inputs. That's fine. So yeah, so we'll get some buttons here, and then we'll get more buttons. Oh, wow. Yeah, it doesn't delete the old buttons, so we're going to ditch the old buttons when they change. Okay, back in the script. So remove all old exits. So we've got to find all the buttons. How the heck am I going to do that? Is there some way I can define the button? Oh, button group. What's this? Button group. Group. Okay, so whenever we create a new button, button.group equals exits. Super. All right. So now we want to find all the buttons with group exits and delete them. Do we delete a node? Delete node in script Godot. Q3. Okay. So we're going to need that. And then we're going to get a link to the node. So how do we find nodes in a group? Find nodes in group. Get nodes in group. Oh, how to delete all nodes in a group. Oh man. If it's that easy, I'm going to be very happy. Let's try it. So for buttons in get tree, get nodes in group, missing it. A lot of these examples have got some really bad errors. Exits, and then button Q3. Mixed tabs and spaces. Oh, is that gone? Yeah, it's gone. Right, here we go. It's gonna work. Nope. Doesn't like it. Invalid set index group on base button with value type string. What is it then? What is a button group? Some kind of object. So how can I define it in GDScript? Oops. Define object group in Godot script. I hate it when this keeps coming up. No one knows how Godot works. It's like if it can't find decent results for me, it gives me that. Set object group in GDScript. All right, what is an object group? Let's find out. Oh, hold on. The call of the game is trying to play some games rather than write some games. I'd like to do this though. Almost there. Just want to get this working and call it a day. Maybe button group is a crap way of, a bad way of doing it. Kind of just makes sense though, especially with that bit of code. What the heck is a group? Property group, button group. Ooh. Help, search, button group. Button group. A group of buttons. Group of button or direct indirect becomes radios. What? I don't want that. I just want group. Group. Base button. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that's probably not the right thing to use then. Can I add a new property to the button? Excuse me. I don't think it's going to work. I'm just going to have a look at this command. Returns a list of all nodes assigned to the given group. But how do you create a group? And why am I looking at stuff just to do with button here? Set button group value. Oh, I need to use that. Let's try it. I don't think that's the right thing. I think it's going to end up turning it into like a load of radio buttons. But let's try that. Back into the script. Where is it? Game. Right. So I'm doing group equals exit. So we want to do button dot set button group. Comment that out. Put that in here. Is that allowed? Let's try it out. Play. Nope. Convert argument 1 from string to object. Cannot. Again, a group seems to be some sort of list, which makes sense. How do we pre-create that group then? I mean, what if I just say, all right, you know what? This button that I don't need, which is hidden, is going to be ew. What the hell? No. Okay. I know what I'm doing there. Assign node to group. Call group name. That's annoying. This is no good. Add to group. Oh, groups in Godot work like tags. Yes, that's what we want. This following script would add the current node. Okay. I just tried add to group, didn't I? No, I didn't. Let's try that. Ah, yes. Nice. All right. We got it working. The only other thing I need to know on these buttons is what the hell they mean. So, oh no, I want to be able to click them next. So that's my next thing, to make the button clickable. So I'll just put some notes in here. Displays list of exits as buttons. Needs events hooked up. All right. Update the GUI. Updates the user interface, and this will be the main input loop. Coming on. I think that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow, which is Friday, the 3rd of April, we'll be looking at more user interface. We're going to try and get some buttons working. So no one's watching any of these live streams yet, but I hope it's useful to someone. Maybe someone's trying to do something similar. Have a great night. Thanks again for watching. Take it easy and peace.